Hey Team Multi, how are you? Coach Rachel here. Welcome to day 7 of your at-home workouts. We've got an ESP workout for you today. We're going to work everything, endurance, strength and power. It's going to be a total body workout. Your block 1 is going to be 8 minutes of a full body workout. You just need a mat and some space for that block. Block 2 is where you get the chance to be a little bit creative. It's going to be your 5-minute cardio block. It's 30 seconds work, 30 seconds rest for 5 minutes. So have a think what you can do to get that heart rate spiked. It could be bouncing on the kids' trampoline, it could be skipping, it could be running fast steps up and down your back step, anything like that, just to spike that heart rate. Block 3 is going to be replicating the movement that we do on those rowers, because we know how much you're missing those rowers, team. Anyway, good work from every single one of you. You've all been tagging yourselves and hashtagging and commenting on Facebook on the members page with all the activity you've been doing. Please carry on doing that and make sure you share our workouts with the wider community. Massive shout out to Jude, to Claire Hughes, Beth Booth, Gareth and Bev, Tamsin, Erin, Laura Dutton, and even our own Solly. Keep hashtagging I can, I will, and hashtag Orangetheory at home. Keep us in the loop with what you're doing. Share with your family and your friends, and hopefully we shall see you soon. Take care, team.
All right, it is time to get started. This workout is going to take you about 30 minutes. We have 5 total blocks, including our warm-up and flexibility, and just a little bit of cardio for you as well. The way that the format's going to work, just like in class, we're going to demonstrate the exercises for you. Then you're going to be able to hit pause and go ahead and execute those exercises on your own. For our warm-up, we're going to start with 2 full rounds of 5 exercises. You ready to get that heart rate up a little bit?
Let's do it.
All right, let's get it started. Nice and easy, we are gonna start with a side-to-side toe tap. So just like John is, he started in that standing set position, slight bend in those knees, and then we're quickly moving side to side, simply tapping the inside toe and then reaching that foot out. Nice big step to the side. You've got 20 total, so 10 in each direction. Our second exercise is going to be our squat with an overhead reach. So making sure we line up those anchors, ear, shoulder, hips stay in alignment as he's sitting into his heels, raising his hands up to the ceiling, keeping that core nice and tight. Think about if you were sitting in a chair. We're gonna do this 10 times. Your next exercise, opening up those hips just a little bit. Find a focal point so that we can work on that balance while we're also opening up those hips. Internal and external rotations. Think about drawing a circle with your knee. So you bend that knee up towards the ceiling, draw that circle to the back. Those are your external rotations. And then for internal, you're simply gonna draw that circle to the inside. We've got 5 one direction, 5 the other direction for 10 total, and then you'll switch to the opposite side. Next exercise will be our static alternating lateral lunge. Static simply means that we're going to keep our feet planted and move side to side. So you're going to shift your weight again into that heel, driving through that outside leg as we come back to that upright position before dropping into that opposite heel. As always, again, that core stays nice and tight. Your option, you can reduce the range of motion or warming up the backside of those legs. We might be doing legs a little bit later. Warm-up wouldn't be complete without jumping jacks. We've got 10 of those, so you're gonna raise those arms overhead. There we go, John. As you jump your feet to the outside, your option here, taking that jump out, step to the side, step back together. total body. This block is going to focus a little bit on endurance, strength, and power. We're going to be working for 8 total minutes, pairing 2 exercises together for 2 rounds, and then another 2 exercises together for another 2 rounds with a little bit of a surprise at the end. It's super important to work your entire body, as when we are outside doing regular activities, you're not even thinking about how you're moving, working your core, working balance and stability. So we're gonna incorporate all of that here so you're better outside of your workout. We're gonna start with that single leg deadlift. So very first thing, you wanna find a focal point that's not moving to help with that balance and stability, and then line those anchors up. Like you can see that straight line from Angie's ear all the way down to her ankle. From here, you're gonna hinge forward at those hips, raising your heel to the ceiling. Again, keeping that focus, keeping that core tight, and moving through nice and slow. Your option here is, of course, to reduce your range of motion to make sure that we can hang on to that balance throughout the entire range of motion. 8 on one side and 8 on the other. Once you finish those reps, we're gonna make sure that we're on a stable surface, so move off of a towel if that's what you're standing on, and we're gonna go right into an alternating jump lunge. So a little bit of power here. We've got 8 total reps. Make sure as you're getting into that lunge position, your feet are staying on railroad tracks like they're hip width apart, coming down to that almost 90-degree bend in that knee, and exploding up, landing softly on both feet at the same time. Nice job. And your option is to work through that alternating reverse lunge without the jump. Again, 8 total there. Let's repeat those 2 exercises for 2 rounds. Our next pair of exercises, we're gonna come down to the mat again, or the towel, whatever it is, getting into your high plank position to perform a palms to elbow. Feet are just outside hip width apart, keeping your core tight, hips in line with the shoulder. We're gonna drop down one at a time, elbow, elbow, and then press back up, palm, palm. Every time you go down, you're gonna alternate which arm you start with. We've got 8 total here. Your option, you can always take it down to your knees like Ange just did to reduce that range of motion. Your last exercise, body weight running man. We're going right into it. Again, a little bit of power here. Back to your high plank. Drive with power, opposite knee into your chest, alternating either time. Option, you can tap that toe, taking the power out of it, taking a little bit slower, 40 total here. Repeat that for 2 rounds, and then whatever time is remaining, you're gonna go back and forth between your jump lunge and your body weight running man until time is up. Let's get started. bit of cardio in during this workout. Our goal right now is to keep that heart rate elevated for 5 total minutes. You have a couple different options. We do realize that we're inside your living room right now and you might not have access to be outside. Think about, do I have stairs that I can go run up and then walk down, or walk up and then walk back down for 5 minutes? Maybe it's as simple as chasing your kids around or chasing your dog around the coffee table. You know how much they love to run in those little circles. Or pick an exercise that you do for, say, 30 seconds of work, followed by 30 seconds of rest. It can be as simple as a jump squat in place, especially if we're dealing with a really small space, or maybe it's that broad jump, and then a nice little jog back. Whatever works for you in the space that you have, you've got 5 minutes to see if we can get into that orange zone. Let's do it.
Smooth and sweet.
know that one of the favorite machines that you have inside that studio is our water rower. So we're going to bring some exercises to you to mimic those motions on the water rower and strengthen the muscles that we use as well. 4 exercises that you're going to continue to repeat for a total of 8 minutes. We're going to start with a combination move called our good morning to tricep kickback. Getting into our standing set position, make sure you do have 2 objects that weigh the same. We're going to be working those triceps in this motion. Jess has water bottles to use for this exercise. So again, standing set position, shoulders stacked over hips, over knees, over ankles, feet are shoulder width apart, maybe slightly wider. Keeping that core tight, we're going to start with the hip hinge. So go ahead and bend at the waist. Then you're going to anchor yourself there. From there, elbows are tight into that rib cage, fully extending those arms, bringing them back to 90 degrees. And then this part, drive your heels in as you stand back up. So again, it's a bend, extend, and then stand up with a little bit of power, activating the backside of those legs. We've got 8 total reps here. Next, we're gonna grab an object that's a little bit heavier. We've got our sturdy metal lanterns here going right into a hip hinge low row. Working the same muscles that we just used for that good morning, we're now gonna stabilize the body by getting into that hip hinge and anchoring ourselves here. Keep that core tight, straight line from your ear to that hip. Raise up those elbows at the same time, keeping them nice and close into that rib cage, pausing at the top like Jess is, squeezing those big back muscles and returning to the starting position. Your option, you can reduce your range of motion or grab maybe a little bit a lighter object. Again, you've got 8 total reps here. Continuing to work that entire body, let's put it together with a sumo squat to an upright row. So just like you drive off of those foot plates, we're gonna get into that squat position first. So drop down into those heels, palms facing in towards each other. Push your feet into that foot plate, standing back up. And then from here, you're gonna drive your elbows up and out towards the ceiling, pinching those shoulder blades at the top, just like we're rowing at the top of that movement. So again, it's that squat into an upright row. You've got 8 total reps there. Last but not least, we are gonna activate that core. Remember, during that rowing motion, your core has to stabilize throughout the entire movement. So for this one, we're gonna do a static crunch with a scissor kick. Jess is gonna lay flat on the ground. First things first, let's get that low back anchored into the floor. So start with your feet above your hips and then lower your legs down only to the point where you can keep that low back in contact with the ground. Fingertips are gonna come directly to your ears, elbows out wide. From here, we're gonna scissor those legs, but first make sure you raise those shoulders off the ground, engaging that core. Remember, stability throughout the movement while we're moving our legs. We're going back and forth, nice, slow and controlled movement here. Your option, you can bend your knees and then drop one heel at a time, reducing that range of motion. Here you've got 16 total scissor kicks with those legs. Remember, 8 minutes of work. Let's get started.
you've worked hard to this point, but what's equally important is the flexibility block. With this one, primarily, we're gonna be working the posterior chain, those hamstrings, glutes, and lower back. Our focus here is to make sure that we reduce injury, especially hunching our shoulders over, hitting next episode on our favorite streaming service. We have 4 movements that we're gonna hold for 20 seconds each. Em, you ready to do this? Oh, yeah. All right, we're gonna start things off with our standing overhead side reach. We're gonna bring our arms overhead. We're gonna grab that wrist, nice deep breath, leaning to our left side to start off, working the lats and the obliques. As we get a little bit deeper into that stretch, each inhale on the exhalation, we're gonna see if we can get a millimeter further into that. Now, whatever range of motion is available to you, use that. Then we're gonna go ahead and switch sides. Nice deep breath, chest nice and tall. And let's come back to that starting position. Next up, we have our standing toe reach. Nice deep breath, feet together, shoulders back nice and proud. We're gonna hinge from the waist, keeping that chest nice and tall, reaching for those toes. Working primarily with our hamstrings, glutes, a little bit with the lower back here. Now, Emily has ridiculous flexibility. You may not have that available to you. So you can always go to the calves, maybe behind the knees. Again, whatever's available to you at that moment. Very nice. Let's go ahead, walk those hands out to a high plank. We're gonna get ourselves ready for a downward dog. We're gonna start from our high plank position, walk the hands back just a little bit, pressing through the hands, raising those glutes in the air. Legs are straight to really emphasize that stretch on the hamstrings. And for an added benefit on the calves, we're gonna add a running addition to it, alternating, bending each knee. Nice, slow, and controlled here. Last but not least, we have a runner's lunge with a rotation. We're gonna step one foot out nice and wide, dropping that back knee down to the ground. We're gonna bring both hands down to the inside of that right leg, pressing that elbow into the right knee. We're gonna reach up with our left hand, reaching for the sky. This is gonna work the thoracic spine, really making sure we keep it nice and safe. Holding it for 20 seconds, bringing it back down, and then switch sides. You have 4 exercises, 20-second hold for each. Go ahead and cool down, you've earned it.